about to do a DM dilemma, but I just read a DM from Tuesday's DM dilemma, and she said that she was getting text messages from family members saying, hey, somebody else has our same exact problem. Isn't that funny?
That's amazing. They're like, oh my gosh, can you believe how common of a problem this is?
So if you have a problem in your life and you could use some advice, let us know what it is. Slide into our DMs on Instagram, ADAMNALLISON. But Called Out Courtney writes, I started seeing a guy who presents himself as very emotionally aware and openly feminist, which I initially felt like was a green flag. But pretty quickly, I noticed a pattern where any feeling or boundary I shared turned into a debate I didn't ask for. If I said something made me uncomfortable, he'd only respond calmly, but start analyzing my reaction, questioning my motives, or reframing it as something I needed to work through. On the surface, his language sounds reasonable and respectful, but over time, it's left me feeling scrutinized and weirdly at fault for having basic preferences. When I try to push back, he says I'm being defensive or avoiding growth, and somehow every conversation ends with him feeling right and me feeling smaller. Is this a known kind of dynamic? How do I shut it down without getting pulled into another argument? What do you think Called Out Courtney should do? 601-995-1017.
I'm a little torn because this is a known dynamic as far as the cycle of whenever you're calling or you're saying, hey, something made me feel a certain way, and they immediately get defensive. They immediately want to explain it away. That is a pattern. I see it all over my therapy talk, all over my Instagram with therapists everywhere. It's like, I think it's the avoidant attachment style. They just get really defensive. And there is a way that you could talk to someone with that, to where you really have to present it up in a way to where it's like, hey, this happened. It made me feel this way. In the future, could this happen? And then when they try to explain it away, you could say, no, I want us to be on the same page. But my biggest issue with this whole thing is I have never found a guy who claims to be a feminist to actually be a feminist. So I think on that's a red flag. You got to get rid of him.
Okay. So I have a totally different perspective on this. What it sounds to me like is Courtney doesn't like to feel criticized by anybody. And the fact that she had this initial feeling of this guy like, oh, he's so smart and enlightened and blah, blah, blah. He's such a feminist. And then all of a sudden he starts having critiques. She knows deep down he's probably right about a lot of those critiques and does not want to admit that about herself. I'm sorry, Shug, you're not infallible. Like, you could improve, and this guy's trying to help you do that.
No, he is a walking red flag. I cannot believe you're sticking up for this man.
He's not a walking red flag.
He is a walking red flag.
She didn't say one thing in there that he did that was actually bad.
It's all bad. It is all bad. This is someone who has perfected their personality in a certain way, and then they are always controlling the narrative. They're controlling her narrative. It's crazy.
601-995-1017. This guy is dating Courtney and gets a little critical of her from time to time, but respectfully, right? Said that in there. In the middle of a DM dilemma from Called Out Courtney, she says she has this boyfriend, newish guy, and he said he was an openly feminist and everything. He looked like a walking green flag. And then all of a sudden he started being critical of her and challenging her on different things, and she doesn't like it.
Well, I mean, her boundaries and feelings, that's a kind of important thing to clarify as far as what's being pushed back on.
Well, maybe he's just a little more emotionally intelligent than she is, and she can help, or he can help her out. Thomas says on the Y101 Facebook page, you know how a bunch of women claim to have dated a narcissist? Narcissists are actually rare, and that behavior is a huge red flag to me. It's the beginning of keeping you off balance, questioning your own reality by employing calm, not a psychiatrist, and by employing calm arguments and fake emotional intelligence. I am not a psychiatrist, and I've never encountered a true narcissist, but I'd be super careful here. It seems problematic.
Ooh, Oh, so he's thinking this might actually be a narcissist that she's dating.
Oh, that I wasn't taking it like that. I was taking it like maybe she's the narcissist.
Oh, no.
I was thinking that's what I thought Thomas was saying, that she was the red flag for being like, oh, if anybody's going to question my reality, they need to be eliminated from my life.
Well, Abigail's saying, I think we figured out the reason why Adam is single. He doesn't think this behavior is a red flag, but this behavior is gross and can lead to scarier stuff the longer this person stays. I say run.
You mean a romantic partner can't make you a better person? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, it can, but you also have to be, there is a delicacy in how you have hard conversations. If someone is bringing up a boundary or a feeling, the other person has to have the emotional intelligence to know the difference between intent and impact. The impact is what that person is feeling, what Courtney is feeling, and he's trying to explain it away with, well, but my intentions, that's not very emotionally intelligent.
See, I think it is emotionally intelligent to really take a hard look at a feeling that you have, maybe a negative feeling about somebody, and think, what was their intention there? I think that is a very mature thing to do.
That sounds like somebody who constantly is trying to explain their intentions.
Lori says, show him this message. He can read it without interrupting. Good morning, Olivia. What is your advice for Courtney?
I think it could be a problem. I think it depends on like what specifically he's trying to explain away. Because if she's a picky eater and it's like, well, yeah, that's why you don't like these things. You need to try, more foods. That's one thing. But if it's, hey, this is why you don't want to kiss me on the first date, and that's not okay. Like, it really depends.
We don't really have enough information. I am kind of feeling like it is some stuff like the first one you mentioned, like being a picky eater or not wanting to go do a certain activity because, I just don't like that. And he's like, well, maybe expand your horizons and you may be missing out on something that you might actually love. And then all of a sudden she feels called out by that.
But, if she's feeling this way now, regardless of, his intentions, it doesn't seem like he's going to change, and it sounds like she's not going to change.
Yeah.
She should probably just call it quits.
Yes.
So she just needs a pushover.
No.
Somebody who's never going to say she does anything wrong.
Just more compatible.
Maybe. Some people really do want
She'd
that.
be more compatible with a guy who's never critical of her and you're perfect in everything you do.
Hey, that works for some people.
Yeah, I guess so. Thank you for the call, Olivia.
Adam and Allison in the morning.